So here we have a three-man weave, a very traditional sort of old school basketball drill. We try to tell our coaches to shy away from this sort of drill as it does have a lot of flaws. It discourages spacing. It's actually telling kids to go close to their teammates rather than spacing out and seeking the sideline. There's no real decisions in this drill either. There's very much a lack of different passes as well. What we do want our players to do is to always do drills that are far more engaging and really test them in more game-like situations, which unfortunately the three-man weave doesn't really do. So here's our alternative to the three-man weave. First we look at the types of passes being made. So we've got that initial outlet pass to the wing, and we've also got a kick ahead pass. These are passes that we see in a basketball game, quite frequently. And the beauty of this drill is players are allowed to cheat in it. So we want players to be able to read what's going on. Another advantage is there's much more players actively involved in the drill. So here we have a traditional jump stop pivot drill. It's what would be known as a blocked drill. There's very little, randomness in this drill, not really many decisions being made. You can see that probably the player's engagement isn't as high as potentially other drills. So it's something to consider. How can we make drills more engaging? But to add to that as well, how can we transfer these skills to game? So here we've got a much more random version of the drill before. Players are instructed to pivot for 5 seconds, and then on the coach's call, dribble for 5 seconds, and then on the coach's call, pivot back for 5 seconds again. Players are constantly making decisions, constantly having to protect the ball. Their engagement levels are much higher. It is a multi-skill drill as well, because now you're adding defensive principles as well, how to slide your feet, how to stay in a stance. Now there's some reasons to the pivots as well. Players are getting feedback. So for example, if a player is too high upright in their stance, they're going to get pushed over. That sort of feedback doesn't come in that traditional pivot drill. Again, another really traditional drill that coaches usually turn to, which is turnouts. This on-air type of drill. We'll talk about this concept of bursts very soon, but you can see that a lot of players are standing in line. They're not really contributing to the drill unless it's their turn. And the thing is as well, they won't get any feedback on their shot until their next turn, which is 9 people away. Again, because players aren't making any decisions, they're not getting their feet set quickly, they're not shooting quickly. So the concept of bursts is that players will get 45 seconds to be the offensive player in a drill. So they get a lot of shots up in a short period of time. So in this drill, players on the baseline can either pass and close out aggressively, they can pass and screen, or they can dribble handoff. And the player shooting will have to react to what the passer is doing. Again, a lot of really quick feedback, a lot of shots up early, and the other thing to notice is how everyone's involved in the drill. So again, a multifaceted drill where people in line also play a role in the drill rather than just waiting. The beauty of the drill being a 45-second short burst as well is the speed and the constant feedback that the girls are getting. Again, when you know you have a short period of time, you're going to try to get as many shots up as you can, and that feedback is invaluable. Again, another really traditional staple drill of defense, which is the zigzags drill, where it's a couple of low slides and then a drop step. Players are instructed to stay about arm's distance from their opponent. And this drill doesn't really challenge the defensive player. It doesn't really ask them to react. It is a very blocked, a very structured drill. There are much better ways to teach one-on-one defense that allow for a much higher engagement, high competitiveness level than this sort of drill. So here's an example of an unscripted defensive drill. Again, players on defense are trying to double team, they are trying to work together. They need to slide their feet, they need to stay in front, they need to try to get deflections, while the offensive player needs to react to the defense, which is good as well. It is totally unscripted. Players turn around and could dribble into traps and will need to find ways to escape it, while the defense will need to react to what the offense is giving them. Another great drill here, which is our gauntlet drill. Players have their own lane where they have to beat 3 defenders. They have 12 seconds to get to the other side, so they need to work on their hesitations. But a great drill for the defense to be able to work together to try to stop the offensive player for 12 seconds. Players need to be bouncing on their toes, they need to anticipate, they need to try to maintain that chest-to-chest relationship, they've got to play without fouling. Again, an unscripted drill where they are practicing skills that are more relevant during games. So another very traditional drill, the shell drill. Again, the probably go-to drill to teach man-to-man help principles. A problem with this drill a little bit is what happens after we go live. Players are very good at this scripted movement where they need to, close out on their player and then get to the gaps when the ball is passed. But unfortunately, as soon as drills usually go live, they revert back to old habits, whether that's hugging their player or sagging too much into the key. So we've started to use this drill called defensive shutdown, which penalises not being in the right position. We also play live from the start, and we've got some, automatic turnovers for the defense. So, for example, if players don't close out with a stick hand, which is a outstretched hand above the ball, it's an automatic turnover. If the players give up an offensive rebound, it's an automatic turnover. Now in this drill especially, you get rewarded for getting stops on defense. So you have your lines at halfway ready to come in on offense. the defense wants to get stops. Now, how we classify a stop is a steal or a contested shot where you get a defensive rebound. So, for example, if the offense drove the ball in and missed a wide open layup, the defense wouldn't be rewarded for that. Now, a beauty of this drill is if you want commitment to defense and you want the energy up, this is the sort of drill that will sort of guarantee that players are, willing to do anything to win, and especially when you make the only way to win to play good defense, players will usually be receptive to that. It's important as well when teaching defense, especially in the half court, what your role is. So, for example, I'm explaining to one of my players, on your closeout, it's first to take away that 3-pointer and then to have that stick hand ready. Then for a help defender, your job is to stop any drive coming your way. I'm going to talk about now a little bit of, what are constraints and how can we add constraints to drills to make them more realistic or add a more optimal sort of challenge point. For example, we could teach layups 1-on-0, but again, there's no decision, there's no reaction or anything. So what I like to do is this 1-on-1 arc drill. So the offense has all the control in the drill. The offense dribbles around the 3-point line, and as soon as their foot enters the 3-point line, it's 1-on-1 to the rink. A really engaging, a real fun drill. Again, the offense has a big advantage in this drill, so they can still work on their layups. Okay, but it's a really good drill that works on layups under pressure. Again, we're always talking about finding the optimal challenge point. These sort of drills help get us to that level. Another sort of concept we can add as well is adding some sort of advantage. A really good drill is this 1-on-1+1 drill. We have an offensive player, a defensive player, and a player that can assist the offensive player in some way. Whether that is, setting a screen, whether that is going to the high post and playing out of the high post, whether that is doing a dribble handoff. Again, allows more people to be involved in the drill. It forces players on offense to react. And it's great for the defense as well because they're forced to react to what they're faced with. Again, their only objective is to force the opposition into a tough shot. They know they have a disadvantage, so they're going to fight through screens. They're going to try to get a hand up to contest. And an important thing as well is, there's moving screens at the moment. There's, handoffs being made with the wrong hand. If we as coaches intercept too quickly, it ruins their opportunity to learn. Ideally, what we want to happen is they try to do a handoff with the wrong hand and it stuffs up. That is immediate player feedback. But, you let them go through it for a couple of minutes and then you can start saying, okay, screens, you've got to make sure they're set. Offense, you need to wait until that screen's set. If you're doing a dribble handoff, you need to dribble with your outside hand. Okay, but if we give them all the solutions at the start, we ruin their opportunity to learn. Again, another drill, working on constraints. Okay, so if you have a team that over dribbles, okay, take dribbling away. work on your team's ability to protect the basketball without dribbling, to make passes on time and on point, working on your team's ability to blast cut, to backdoor cut, to make the right decisions, the right passes. Okay, so taking away dribbling is a constraint that can help you work on a particular skill. So this is our 5-on-5 but 3 lives games. So the players have 3 minutes on the clock. The highest score wins, but each team has 3 lives. So the ways teams can lose lives are if the other team gets an offensive rebound, and if the team on defense doesn't play aggressive enough, meaning they don't have a stick out as soon as their player passes halfway. So, for example, you could have a team 10-0 up, but as soon as they lose those 3 lives, they lose the game. Now, the beauty of this is every time you scrimmage, you might change the reason why they lose lives. So, for example, in this scrimmage now, watching it back, I could say if there's 2 people inside the 3 point line, automatic loss of life. It's no secret that, players of any age want a scrimmage. Everyone wants to end training with some sort of scrimmage. And I think that as coaches, we want to make sure that this doesn't end up just being jungle ball. We want them to make sure that the learnings that they've done in the drills are actually translating to the game. So having this 3 live concept really helps cement some of those things that we've been working on.